we're opening now. Open. You're the
Okay.
opener.
Am I?
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
We've done a lot of these. You always open.
Yeah, but you forcing me now to open, so. Thank you for joining us today. This is Alex Montrose. We have Lisa Montrose, and this is another episode of Co-Founders.
Yes.
Let's do that again. Thank you for joining us today on another episode of Co-Founders. This is Alex Montrose, and we have Lisa Montrose, and we have two friends and amazing guests, Chad and Suria. Thank you for joining us today. So we're going to get into a lot of things today that will be hopefully of value. And but with that said, before we do that, let's open up with some intros. Give us a little bit of backstory, who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into kind of the meat of things.
You go ahead, Chad.
So Chad Gleason, originally from just north of Toronto, moved to Seattle about 20 years ago when it wasn't quite hustling and bustling. So for the last 20 years, it's been pretty good. We were a commercial realtor and now co-founder and managing director of a company called Pentaveret.
Okay. Awesome.
And myself, Suria, El-Bietar, and I originally came to Seattle about 25 years ago, kind of after some graduate work, and went into pre-med, decided I needed a break, went and worked for a small company that was just moving locations, Starbucks. And
Pretty small company.
But as it grew, I moved into Starbucks International, which was a very small company and a big company, and had some great experiences there. Then took some time to raise my family. And then when it was time to come back, I said, well, I'd like to stay in real estate. That was what I had focused on in my previous years with Starbucks, was international commercial real estate for their stores. And so I decided to join a brokerage and start commercial real estate, which is what I truly enjoyed. And a few years later, connected with Chad, we found that we work really well together, and became a co-founder with Pentaveret.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that intro. So you say you found that you guys work well together, right? So what does that mean? Can you give us break down?
They're sly little smiles across the table from us.
So what does that look like? Like, how did you come to that conclusion? Like, you know what, we work well together.
Well, I think that we could spend hours talking about business.
Okay.
That was something we both enjoyed. We enjoyed what commercial real estate brought to our lives and how we contributed to it. We were very passionate about it. Fantastic. To me, it's the best investment vehicle. Mm-hmm. Is it always the best returns? No, but it's the most solid. Mm-hmm. And I'll stand by that. And I guess that would start off in our conversations, and so many different directions that we could take it, and how to bring that investment to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. I think that's started to spark a lot of our conversations.
Wow, very cool.
But we also had a really good connection. So we were interested in the same things. So we're talking passionate about the real estate, you can hear. But it was also developing new ideas. And what we found going into meetings, we were acting like we were together in business for 20 years. So we were finishing each other's sentences. We were kind of going down the same road, but we brought two very different points of view in the business meetings. And we were really picking up on that. And people were always asking, how long have you guys been working together? You guys sound like you're working, for a long time. Mm-hmm. But that's where it was starting to go. Our passion for it, we were excited. It just grew from there.
Mm-hmm. And earlier you said family. Can you give us some background on kids? What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that was another thing that kind of where we found that connection. Mm-hmm. Family was very important to us, and family meant more than just our children. It meant our parents, our sisters, brothers, cousins, extended family. And there was a big focus on, not to always say they took priority, but they took equal importance to every other aspect in our lives. And how to juggle it, how to manage all that. equally and fairly and know when you had to put something aside to pay attention to something else. So I think we were really aligned on that. So I think that helps keep us on the same road. But we do, but we have to take that. You have to take the moment, whether it's on a vacation, whether it's a long evening together, to get realigned and check in with each other, whether it's business or whether it's children or whether it's, aging parents. You need to help point in the right direction, that we're all following the North Star.
Yeah.
If it's in fact the North Star we're headed towards.
And not,
Sometimes
why
it's
are we
questionable.
following
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Exactly. It's like, well, I realize that you've been very intrigued with the constellation over there, and that's great. But the North Star's over there, so let's realign ourselves.
That's awesome.
So that's been big.
It was always interesting how we would be passionate in all our things. And some weeks it feels like all you do is put out fires. Like if it's business chaos going on, if it's an employee chaos going on, or if it's your cousin or your sister or mom and dad need information. Some days you're just like, does it ever stop? And, and then we're like, does everyone else live like this? Is this something that you see everywhere, or is it just us this week? And, as I go kind of in and out of this, business joys and the defaults of business, you start matching them up with home, and sometimes, they hit hard. So work's tough, home's tough, and trying to separate that and find that magic. Like, do we all need to go over here tonight, or can two of us stay here and give everyone a bit of a breather or a break? Or, we should all be going. Trying to make those decisions on top of, like, who's going to what meeting and why, and do we have collateral ready to go for a meeting? Or sometimes it's like, do we even have passes for the movies tonight? Are we that organized? Are we just going on the fly? It mixes. And that was a whole new process.
How long did it take? Because that issue around prioritization, right, is something I think we all deal with. When did it start to come, like, not an issue, but when did it become where you got more clarity and like, hold on here? Like, to the point where, do we both need to be going here? Do we, making those decisions where you're literally prioritizing time, family, and everything else that's involved in being in business together? How long did it take for you guys to get to that point?
We're still going through that process.
I feel like it's an ongoing process, but I think where it really started to hit home was the start of our business, when we actually created Pentaveret and started to go down that road. I would say as we started to have partners join us, because we're a partnership of 6, and the demands of the business, all of a sudden there was there had to be times where your work had to prioritize, because it has to, and that was part of sharing that with our kids and helping them understand that our work, if they can help support us in our work, it helps them, because it's what keeps us as a family afloat.
Sure, yeah.
So that came as an advice from a very close friend. Says, why don't you, I think your kids are old enough, even when they're really young, share with them what you're doing and why you're doing it. Yeah. Not from a guilt standpoint, definitely never from a guilt standpoint, but from a sharing standpoint, just like you would share with a friend. This is what I'm doing with my job. Some friends understand a little bit more about what you're doing and others a little less, but they're all supportive. And we found that with the kids, that when we could say, we're really going to need some time to be by ourselves, to get some work done, even though it's a Saturday afternoon, it's sunny, it's wonderful. And they're all, oh, okay. It was
Let's
like
go to
they
the
could
office.
see. They had that light bulb go on, and they was like, Mom, I'm going to support you. And I'm like, fantastic. Yeah. And they'd stare at you, and I'm like, maybe a movie today. And they're all, okay. They'd run upstairs to watch a movie or a movie on an iPad. So they got it.
We also wanted them to understand what we were doing. So we traveled quite a bit, going to conferences. Sometimes we're speaking at a conference, and they don't understand quite what's going on. So we were at a mid-year conference in D.C., and we were lobbying Congress, and it's been several years that I had gone. Suria had showed up, and she wasn't sure that was her thing. I said, if you're free, let's go for a couple hours. We went to Congress and walked through, and she was very enlightened by the process. The following year, we took the kids. And so, not that it was easy to take them, but all of a sudden they're with us, traveling all through D.C., hitting museums, hitting Congress. We brought them into an episode where we were with a congressman, and we went through the little 10-minute process of lobbying, putting our points of view out. They experienced that. They got to walk through literally the halls of Congress when sometimes it's a little exciting, more so than you want it to be. But they saw Congress, they saw the Senate, they saw the White House, they saw the monuments. And that was a big deal. For
That's
us,
really cool.
Yeah. For someone who was like 10 and 16, I think, at the time, experiencing that, getting a picture with the congressman. And then, of course, we went to lunch, and there was another congressman here for King County. And we were able to see him and get a picture with him and stuff like that. So just to be exposed, whether they've truly understood it, I would probably say no. But to get the experience of suit, tie, you're introducing yourself to a congressman. There's, people over here you see on TV. And we took them to other association meetings in Chicago, threw them in a conference center with 25,000 people and saying, we have to get over here for a meeting that I have to go to. So, let's make our way through and take the elevators and take the escalators and go through the hallways and see meeting after meeting. And sometimes I get the comment, it's kind of like school, but for big people. And there is part of that sometimes when you're going from conference room, but sitting in big rooms and understanding what's going on. I think it was a big part of us prioritizing, hey, we have the luxury of not having to punch a clock from 9 to 5. So sometimes we work evenings, sometimes we work weekends, but sometimes you can come to work with us. And maybe that's why Mom gets to go to spend some time with you in class. Like she went for a 2-day camping trip. With the class, cool. That's not something you can do if you're punching the clock. It allows for that flexibility and expansion of family time and business time, I guess.
That's the first time I've heard that. And that's so powerful, I think, of exposing. We actually joke with our kids that so our kids will like to wear, so we have a bunch of Moncord gear, right? And they won't wear it to save their life. Right? We're like, you realize what Moncord provides, right? And then they're like, well, yeah, but they'll wear all these random companies. And
they'll find companies like from Goodwill. Like it's a Goodwill construction sweatshirt. And I'm like, you're wearing this, perfect. But you won't wear Moncord.
We're like, all right, fine, you're out of the will. You're out. We're going to give it to the 2 little ones until, and if
we
they
kicked
betray
3 of them
us,
out last night.
I know.
They're out of the will.
They're out of the will.
That's
it, because they're not going to wear Moncord. So, but anyhow, it's powerful because once I remember growing up, and you may have had a similar experience, maybe or not, but going to work with my dad, seeing what he did.
Those are big days.
Those are big, yeah. And it really, if I look back now, and especially as you were talking through that, and same with you, Chad, I started realizing like, wow, that impacted me more than I actually realized, more as an entrepreneur and other things as I saw him go through that too. But it was just a reminder that sometimes we're not too busy to take our kids and bring them into the fold so that they can actually see and appreciate what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
Well, and we have an opportunity I just thought about, too, when I was younger. My very first job, I think I was 8 years old, and my mom worked for a bank, and they hired my sister and I, and then one of the other employees at the bank had 2 kids, 2 girls that were roughly our age. So we were 8 and 10 years old walking through one of the malls with sandwich boards on, and I won't say the name of the bank, but it was sandwich boards for this bank.
That's fantastic.
So it was amazing, and what better people, we loved it because I got my very first paycheck, and it was an official paycheck that I got from this bank, and I opened up my own bank account. But here I was 8 years old,
nice.
And I still remember that bank account number because it had that big of an impact on me. And a couple other times my mom would bring me into, she'd have a huge project she was working on and needed liens cross-referenced. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just double-checking numbers, and hopefully I did it right. But, I had an opportunity to make money and be involved in my mom's work. And so we all, as co-founders of businesses, have that opportunity to provide that for our kids as well. Like, you can do work. I think we've tried on a couple of occasions. Our kids some of our kids are at the age where they're very involved in social media and friends. So I think they came into work and didn't work, but
which is okay.
They Facebooked about it.
But they oh no, they don't Facebook.
No.
They Instagram.
I say that's
for old people.
That's for old people.
You heard that.
Sorry about that.
I don't even know how to
like
get on it.
MySpace. That's like saying MySpace to them. Facebook is MySpace.
No, they don't even have voicemails set up.
No,
like
they don't answer phones.
They don't answer phone. No,
I'm like, answer your phone. I'm here. I'm like, no, that's a text.
Not the same thing. I mean, that was our daughter got her first phone at 12, and I called her the other day, and it went to voicemail. I was like, this person does not have a voicemail inbox that's set up. And I'm like, it's been 5
I gotta learn
years,
that
almost
trick.
6.
I have to learn
I
that
know.
trick.
That's a good one.
Right.
I want that
Right.
skill set. I
Right.
miss it. Yeah.
You could pay her to get it
There you
set
go.
up.
Yeah. Unset me up. Please.
Well, that's something we had. We had an experience with a couple of our younger employees at one point. I've been trying to get a hold of you all morning. I'm like, both of us would say, well, our phone was on the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, I texted you. And I'm like, okay, you texted me 4 times, but did you call?
Right.
Because I may be so engrossed,
Yeah.
that I'm not, again, it's an age thing, a generational thing. I'm not checking my text every 5
Right.
seconds. Similar to what we were talking about a little earlier when we walked in about, being at a dinner table at dinner, and I look around and my guests are texting
Yeah.
Each other.
each other. So, yeah, interesting. Always interesting out there. But
Well,
I think
nowadays too, it's not even. I think our kids, it's at least ours, the whole texting thing. I know we're getting off topic, but it's interesting.
Still family.
Is that they're not even texting, like from mobile to mobile. It's more like a Snapchat to Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even. They're getting away from even the texting
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
component,
right,
and they're
but
just
then just
Snapchatting.
in the moment.
And they'll
Yeah.
send a
It's in the
picture
moment.
of like their eyes.
They're like, oh, I got a
They're like,
text. That's for
it's-
my parents. Let me shoot a text. Everybody else, it's a Snapchat
So
or an
weird.
Instagram direct message.
I believe that term is they threw shade on you.
They
at
did.
that point,
They
right?
did throw shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, legit too.
Yeah.
Legit. It's another thing
but-
I hear.
No,
So
I
cool.
agree. It's all about family, and that's one of the things that we have found. It connected us up front is that business, family, friends, it's all one thing. It's just at any one moment. It's like you can't pay attention to both kids at the same time talking to you.
Yeah.
So you listen to one and then you listen to the other. How much you listen to one maybe has a more important topic than the other one did at that moment. Same thing with business or child, which one has that priority? And as long as it's just that continuous sharing and you can flow in and out, sometimes things are stressful, but being able to express yourself openly with each other, as well as with children, as well as with family or friends or folks that might be helping you with the kids. We're firm believers in honesty. Is honesty with a respectful delivery is, I think, oftentimes will lead you down success, even when it's the most stressful, where you feel, oh, I've just had it here. But as long as you can continue to be honest with and deliver it in a respectful way, I think you get through it
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
That's powerful.
How do you navigate that? It's because we do live in a world. I mean, we've kind of touched on this. We live in a world of always being connected. You have your phone that people are texting, emailing, calling at all hours. And when you run a business, there's a common misconception of run your own business and run your own schedule. And you're sort of, then it's like you do run your own schedule, but you have to consciously decide to shut it off because it's on all the time. So how do you navigate? When do you shut down from business? Do you have times that you say, we're done, now we're just family?
Yes, I do. I think that it's a misconception if you look at it from a superficial standpoint of have your own business, then you control your schedule.
Right.
You do. You actually do. But you have to, the footnote there is it is your business, and therefore you will live and breathe it 24 hours, 7 days a week. That means if it comes knocking, you must answer. Just like you're a parent, pretty much most of the waking hours that you are, but at 3:30 in the morning, everyone should be sleeping. But if someone comes knocking because there's a problem at 3:30 in the morning, you don't shut it off. You attend to it. So that is, but then you do set your schedule. I can go on a camping trip, on a field trip. I can attend events that are, otherwise I see perhaps a lot of other parents can't attend because you can only take so much time off of work. Having my partner as well as other partners to lean on, to me it's important to it was always important not to be the only owner of my business. And that was because I knew growing up in an entrepreneurial family what that meant. So if you can share, you share the responsibility, you share the love, you share the celebration, you share. And that's always helpful for the individual.
Yeah.
I never turn off. Like I can't. I don't want to stop working. I'm never going to stop. There's going to be something that I'm doing. I'm just doing different versions of it. But I turn big chunks of my business off for access to me when I need work to be done. And so no notifications. I'll get, if you're in my VIP group, my phone will buzz. So I know it's someone that I need to talk to that's in the inner circle. Otherwise, it's an outbound, not an inbound. And so notifications to me, I learned several years ago, it was just nonstop. And if everything's going ping, 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 and you're turning, you never get any work done. You're just putting out fires. So I learned to really turn all those things off. And my phone is an outgoer. And once I accepted that fact, all of a sudden I was getting big chunks of work done throughout the day. And I'm very possessive of my schedule, especially for big chunks, because otherwise I can't get any work done. And if you're not pushing the peanut down the road at some point, you need to do it. And this is with children or family as well. You have to be able to say, I'm going to turn my business off because I got an hour to do something. We're going to go, we got scooters, electric scooters for the whole family, so we jump on them and bomb into town, have a hot chocolate or something, and come back. But you got to turn the world off to be able to do it. And it's okay to do it. That was, to me, I'm like, should I check my phone mid-scooter ride? I'm like, come on.
You need both hands.
Yeah, you do.
We did. I think we found that out the hard way.
But it was just a way to be able to prioritize. And it might mean I'm, face down in a book or reading or doing a project. No one come and talk to me. And, sometimes you got to put your hand up. It's like, hey, I need time. I'll come and get you. But you got to be okay with that because a lot of people aren't. But once I figured that out, I can chunk out my day and actually have a pretty productive day, even if you're commingling life and work.
Yeah. No, I think that's, and we do take those chunks of time where it's like, well, we've been a few months without even a weekend off, I say, or, an afternoon, a Sunday afternoon off is great. And then we'll say, you know what, we need to have a nice long 3.5 to 4 day weekend and go away and just really relax. And we do turn it off according to us. That means you check email every morning, you respond to the critical emails that have to go out, and then by 11 noon, then we've got the rest of the day to ourselves for a vacation. But I think that's a luxury of having a job that you can really disconnect from and say, I'm going on a vacation. You have to put a lot of things into place. And I think we'll get there eventually. I think people do, even with their own business, do get there. But you do have to have a substantial amount of support and trust in the people that you leave that with to know that it is going to get done. And then take that time for just yourself or your family.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Mental health.
Think actually, mental health more than anything.
Yeah.
So this part of the episode, we kind of go into the optimizer kind of. I think we've actually covered a lot of you've given us a lot of good practical things that should be insightful for the audience. But is there anything specific you want to share that you have gone through in your journey that could optimize their time, whether it's with their family, their business, anything that you guys have learned over the course of the years you've been together working that could be of good use?
I think I'll speak from direct experience. You never know what's going to pop up on left field. And sometimes you have to turn around and say to your partner and your partnership, I'm going to need more time for this that just popped up. Honest, respectful, I'm going to need some help. And it's asking for help, being open to the help, getting someone and their willingness to take on the work. So now, without resentment, actually you do it because you care about everyone and your business. and which allows both parties to move forward, continue to move forward. It was me being able to attend what I needed to on the side with emotional support, as well as time support, work support, which taking on projects for that actually I'm responsible for. Without resentment, I didn't feel it, because it equally can happen somewhere else. If another partner needs help, we jump in, we help them out. You help them out because we're all in this together, just like with a family. And it's really not harboring resentment. If you're harboring resentment, there's something you're not saying. And then you need to just sit down and have that, again, honest, respectful tone in communicating what may or may not be working. And just, you can't go over it, you can't go under it, right? That book, you just got to go right through it. So, yeah.
With me, it's like it's all family, and so part of when we were building the strategy, we had everyone came to our house. So we actually, for I think the first one was a 4-day event. We had people sleeping all over the place, cooking meals in the morning,
They
breakfast.
did have guest.
Well,
we do have guest bedrooms. They were.
That's true.
I want to point out.
Yeah.
It wasn't a frat party where everybody was all over the floor or on couches.
Yeah.
Someone did
Civilized.
Because that's exactly what I envisioned.
Actually,
when you
Right,
said that.
exactly.
I'm
I
like
envisioned
thinking of
this.
our
I
house.
saw people just laid out just everywhere.
Someone, a couple times we've had a couple of little naps on the
Oh
sofa.
yeah, absolutely.
For a 10-minute napper, which is
Yeah.
I mean, it was we had the opportunity. Does everyone come in and we rent conference rooms and do this, or do we have hotels? And I'm like, this isn't how I get to know you. This is not the way for you to learn how we operate. And so that's what we did. And so we've had, I don't know, half a dozen or more now. We've come in and did marketing branding sessions. Our crew would come in from Toronto and LA and Chicago, and they would come in and we would spend time. And the highlight of the whole day, we got a lot of work done. We were working at 8 o'clock till 5, sometimes 6. We come back and we cook dinner. And sometimes that dinner, it was like 11 o'clock. By the time everyone was done, and there's wine and there's relaxing. And the situation was, hey, I need this chop. I'm not really good at it. That's okay, take your time, but I need it in 10 minutes. Figure it out. And it turns out that everyone does have a lot more skills. But it was that team bonding. It was that just relaxing and getting to know who everyone was. And we had some complex meals. We had some basic meals. But what it showed as people were coming in, they're like, we've never seen anyone else do this. This is the greatest weekend of hard work I've ever put together.
The
And
kids
so-
sit to dinner with us.
Yeah.
And,
If they're around, they're involved. And so, we don't have any room. We'll sit here. We got a bench. Everyone just squeeze over and we bring everyone into the process. So, don't get caught up in going to dinners, and it's the expensive dinner isn't going to get you that relationship that may get you that deal. If they don't know who you are, it's hard to pitch all the time to people that don't really know how much work you put into your business or the value that you bring. I think sitting down and doing those kind of events or those kind of processes probably been one of the greatest things that we've had with our company and our partners. They all can't wait. We've nicknamed the house. We have events there. It's a big event. People are trying to schedule meals that they want to cook now. This would be fun, and it's
Is
a
it
highlight.
at your house or is that at
We host them.
your house?
Yeah.
Correct.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Nice.
Now I know we were doing our next
Now
team
we have to
event.
do that.
Yeah.
Now we're taking
No, it's
that.
at their house.
At their house. That's right.
we have a whiteboard.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We're sold.
On wheels.
Awesome. You guys have been amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I know you're crazy busy and traveling, and we so appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having us.
That was
This
great.
was
Thank you.
it was a great
We've
opportunity.
been trying to
we were
do
so surprised.
dinner and drinks for like 6 months, but we finally got you on the podcast. Dinner and drinks is in the next 6 months.
It is.
Well,
There
you
you go.
guys have been, professionally. That's how we met you. With
Yeah.
and we've collaborated, and we hope to continue to collaborate.
Sure.
You guys are an amazing couple as well.
Thank you.
And I think it's helpful to talk to other people
Yeah.
because we often share the whoa, did you hear what happened?
Yeah.
Whoa. And I think that's, and then, of course, also sharing in our accomplishments and celebrating together. So thank you for having us.
Well,
Thank you very much.
And thank you for listening to another episode of Co-Founders, and we look forward to seeing you next time.